welcome to my channel. So today I am working on the third video in my An Artist Advent series. Yeah, third video. So if you haven't seen the first two, make sure you go check them out. I will link them in the description box down below. There is a sketch with me that shows the process of sketching all three of the paintings, and then there's also the first painting, Gold. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you like what you see as you watch. So as I said, I'm working on frankincense. So the colors that I got in the 8 days that I opened, which was days 9 through 16, I think, were black, indigo, opaque white, which not opaque, spoiler alert, like super not opaque at all. And then I got carmine, cadmium yellow hue, magenta, May green, and I think that was it. I don't know. You saw them all at the beginning of this. But those are the colors that I got. And originally when I got the black, I was like, heck yes. Like, I really wanted black for myrrh, which is like the last one. So like whatever I get has to be done with myrrh. But then I got like all of the other bright colors, and I was just like, I just don't feel like these are gonna work for myrrh. Like, myrrh is gonna be so much darker, and I still feel like I haven't gotten too many like browns and earth tones, so I'm hoping I'll get some more of those for myrrh as well. And I feel like black is easier to make, and I had a lot of like brighter colors that I thought would work really well with kind of the like I don't know, smoky atmosphere of this. And the opaque white is what really sealed it for me, is because this has like an incense kind of swirl in it. So I thought it would be really fun to play with the opaque with white with that. Plus, I really don't like using white in watercolor. Like, I'll use white gouache, but generally I find that like white watercolors suck. And by the way, this one did. Spoiler alert, white watercolors suck. I'm sorry. Like, I know that a lot of people don't like that opinion of mine, but I think they're stupid. So, anyway, don't at me. But, yeah, I like myrrh the best. So I was like, well, if I have to use opaque white, like, I don't want to use it on the one that I like the best, like, so that's why I decided to do frankincense. So as you can see, I'm kind of blocking everything out, and I felt like at first it was starting to really heavily lean towards the similar color scheme as Gold, which was very yellow and teal, and so I really tried to push this one a little more purple orange, because I was like, oh my gosh, I can make purple again, because I have like pink and red, and I had one blue, I had the indigo, so I could make purple, which was awesome, because I couldn't make purple at all in the Gold, which was surprisingly like an issue. So I definitely was excited to be able to utilize purple again. And one of the issues that I really noticed it a lot more in this piece than I did in the first piece. So in the first piece, I said that the biggest issue that I noticed, or not issue, but difference between these and the professional quality, was the pigmentation, which I still agree with. I still think they blend really nicely. But one thing that they were really, really bad with, and I feel like this is related to the pigmentation, so like I feel like it's just kind of an expansion on that topic, is they dry down like so bad. Like, it's so bad. I mean, like, look how dark the colors are when they go on, and how pigmented and rich they are when they go on, and then they just dry to like nothing. And I found the darks were just really bad with this. Like, it was so hard to get a dark. Like, I had to build up layer after layer after layer after layer after layer, and I work in layers, and I was like, okay, I'm over this. So, you know, that I was able to get a darker color after building up quite a bit, and obviously normally like you could use inks to build up that darker color a little bit more. I didn't want to for this particular kind of thing, because I'm really trying to try these student quality paints. So that was an issue that I noticed that I hadn't really noticed as much before. It's up to you if that's like, you know, something that's really important to you, or a huge issue to you or not. I still don't think it's that big of an issue. I still think these are pretty decent quality for student quality paints, honestly. decent quality for student quality paints. Wow. Another thing that I noticed that I don't think I mentioned in my previous video was an advantage potentially to like the pigmentation thing is it's harder to like over mix and like add too much color. I don't remember if I mentioned that in my previous video, so if I did, I'm sorry. I've been live streaming a lot of these, so I'm starting to blur together what I said in the live stream with what I said in the video. So as you can see, this is me adding the first layer of like opaque white, and it's there, like it shows up, it's great, and then it just goes away. Like you'll see even more dramatically towards the end about how the opaque white just kind of fades to nothingness. And even like the darks, like again, just kind of fade away. I'm just building a lot of layers. So that was a little frustrating, but overall I think that like by the end I was able to build it up. It just does require building, which, you know, it's understandable. Less pigment, more building. So for this piece, same as with the gold piece, I decided to keep the materials pretty much exactly the same. So I used, it's obviously the same paper, the Arche watercolor paper. I used the Schmincke student quality from the Advent Calendar, obviously, duh. Pretty much used the same paintbrushes, and then I also made the decision, again, that like I didn't want to go in with Prismacolor pencil over the top, and the only things I went in over the top with were the same brown ink as I used in the gold piece, and I also added some metallic watercolor. And the reason I decided to add metallic watercolor to this one, I added a very small amount right at the end. The reason I decided to do that was because obviously this metallic watercolor on gold, and then I know that the last paint is metallic as well, so they'll be metallic on myrrh. So just kind of thinking of them as a whole set, like, because I've been trying to think of the three as like a cohesive unit, sort of. I think it would make more sense if they all had some sort of shimmer to them, so I decided to add the metallic to this as well. So, and again, just like using the same materials, I feel like will keep them all cohesive. But the interesting thing that I've noticed is both of them seem to have a primarily like, forget the word. I'm terrible about this right now, but it's quite late at night. But the color scheme, like one is yellow and blue, and the other is like purple and orange. So they're like primarily like two colors. And yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. I think we've got like, it's like a primary color scheme and then a secondary color scheme, I think, because the first is blue and yellow, and those are both primaries. Anyway, I'm tired and I don't know what I'm talking about color schemes right now, so just like ignore me. But I think it's interesting how there's two colors in each that tended to take the lead. So I think that if I can kind of stick to that kind of vibe with myrrh, then all three of them will work together like as a unit. I thought it might be interesting if you guys heard a little bit more about how I'm thinking about the pieces as a whole versus how I'm thinking of them like individually, because I have been trying to think of them kind of like as a set. And I use the same process as well with this, where I kind of painted everything and established kind of the feel of the piece and a lot of the shadows, and then when I felt like I really couldn't go any further with detail until I had done my like outlines, any outlining that I was going to do, I went in and put in the outlines with that black ink, and then I could go in and kind of build up a little bit more watercolor on top of that. I've been really liking this kind of method. It's not quite the traditional method of inking and then coloring. I've really been moving away from that, honestly. I find that I tend to define things a lot more with shadow and shape and color than I do with lines. So I think by painting and keeping things fluid at the beginning and then adding the lines a little bit later, I think that's just a little bit more of a successful method for me, because I can push around the paints and the color and kind of create, like, I can move things around. I don't have to lock myself in so early. And I think just getting so defined and detailed that early in the piece, it just doesn't jive with me. I've been kind of trying to think a little bit more about my process as an artist and how I can make it most efficient and what works for me and why it works for me. I think for a really long time I've just kind of been making art and not really thinking about it, or thinking about why I do things the way that I do, or what works best for me and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think a little bit more critically and analytically about my own artwork and my own process. And I don't know, I have a lot of things like going on in my brain right now in regards to my art and like also this channel and everything. So a lot of new things are going to happen. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, do you have a certain process that you follow like every time? And have you ever changed that up? And when you did change it up, were you like successful? Did you like that you changed it up? Because I have been experimenting more and more with changing up my process and challenging the kind of traditional sketch, ink, color kind of workflow, and it's been really, really helping me. I've really enjoyed it. So I'm curious if anyone else has, I mean, obviously someone else has done that. Like, I'm not some like special snowflake that just figured that out, but like, how many of you guys have done that? And if you did, who else finds it beneficial? And do you have any other kind of tips and tricks along that method, like ways that you use to break up your process or kind of revitalize your process, breathe some new life into your artwork? Like, how do you breathe new life into your art? Because for me, I think shaking up the process is something that can be really helpful. So anyway, that is pretty much it on this piece. I hope that you guys liked it. I think it came out pretty cool, and I can't wait for more. So yeah, that is it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys!